Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
About what they're creating, and they get to actually live their dreams instead of chase them.
Yeah, that's a big thing you said, living their dreams instead of chasing. It's a really big thing. A lot of people, the way I understand it, the way you said it, is it like instead of just imagining their dreams and saying, I want to be this and I want to be this, what you're helping people do is actually get out of that shell, get out of that bubble, if I may say, and just actually go head on and hit what they want to hit.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a nuance with it because most people think of dreams like goals. It kind of is interchangeable. And I differentiate between what I call your dream source or your vision, which is more of a spatial thing. It's not really a goal that you're going to meet in a certain amount of time. It's more of the experience of life when you meet that goal. So, for example, I've worked with a lot of actors in the years because I also manage actors, and people would always say, well, my dream is to win an Academy Award or, whatever. And I'd say, okay, but what if you did that? Now what? And they would just keep saying, well, then I'd have as much money as I wanted and I could, go retire. And I was like, okay, but now what? What's the experience of life that you really want? And ultimately, we would get to something like freedom or self-expression or impact. And I train people to bring that to life now versus wait till someday when they reach a goal, because there's no reason to wait till you win an Academy Award to experience freedom. You could experience freedom at Starbucks or with your family. I do train people to be able to shift from that world of reaction and someday to a world of right now and creation and fulfillment, like real fulfillment, not fulfillment like based on goals, but actually based on creation.
Yeah, it's almost like reverse engineering your reality, reverse engineering your dreams. Like you have what you want to be and you are becoming that person before you get there in a way, right?
Yeah, it's well said. It's really a methodology called be, do, have. Most people live life in the direction of I have to have what I need to have to be a dancer. Like I have to have the shoes, I have to have the outfit. Then I'll do what dancers do. I'll take dance lessons and then I'll be a dancer. But the work that I do is reverse. So first you embody and be a dancer without the evidence. Then you do things that a dancer would do, and then you're going to have the results that a dancer would have. And I did that directly in my own life with being a singer, because I had always dreamed of being a singer since I was little. And in my early 20s, I started developing this methodology about being unmessable with, and I just declared I'm a singer. And then I recorded a demo, and then I started having auditions, and then I got a record deal. So I went backwards, and that's what I'm committed to for people. They don't have to wait.
Yeah, and it's a really amazing thing that this is something that you have been able to achieve in your life and you're able to push it out and share it with other people. And let me just ask you, what do your clients look like? Do you have a particular set of people you work with, or is it you just, yeah?
It depends on the program, because I have several ways that I work with people. I have year-long mastery programs, which are mostly entrepreneurs, founders, executives. That's the main clientele for those kind of programs that are a little bit more one-on-one and bespoke and, high-level groups. Then I have a standard group program that anybody can register into, and that is not as curated. So it's just anybody can register off my website. And I meet with them 10 times or 10 weeks out of 12 weeks. So they're little 3-month kind of spurts of developing their ability to be unmessable with and fulfill their dreams and goals. And then I have pre-recorded programs, which anybody can do. And it's really for anybody from a, out of work actor to a stay-at-home mom to an executive to, somebody who's a podcast host. I mean, I work with people who
Yeah.
do, are up to having their dreams come true, not just hanging out.
Yeah, and that's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. So you're saying I even if I wanted to, I could become unmessable with.
Yeah. I have all listen, I'm committed that this go to as many people as possible. I have a free
Mm,
podcast. I have, all sorts of resources for people to develop it. Now, if people want more support, then they should work with me directly. But I have,
mm,
pre-recorded things where they can work with me virtually and get the kind of value. And it just takes more. It's like if you don't work out with a trainer, it's going to take more discipline on your part and
yeah,
you're not sure if you're doing it right and all that kind of stuff. So it's more effective
yeah,
if you have a trainer, but at the same time, it's doable without me.
definitely, definitely. And on this podcast, we speak to a lot of like, how do I say, coaches and consultants, and we always ask this particular question, which is working with people and helping them become better versions of themselves. How does that make you feel as a person? Does that give you fulfillment?
There's nothing more fulfilling than to have somebody
Mm,
fulfill on their vision. That to me is
mm.
like, it's like a drug, you just there's nothing better. When people win at something they didn't think they could win at, that makes me happy because they go beyond what they thought was possible. And that's really, I think, the job of a coach. A coach's job is not to be like an accountability buddy. I mean, you don't need to pay a coach
Yeah,
to, make sure you did stuff. It's more about stretching you and seeing what you can't see so you can expand beyond where you see is possible. And, sometimes a coach tells you what you don't want to hear so that you can
yeah,
go beyond. But at the same time, I really think that the most powerful use of a coach is to have them find your blind spots, illuminate your blind spots. And what I do with people is I illuminate what
yeah.
messes with them so that they can
Mm.
hack it and shift from being messable with to unmessable with at any given moment.
Okay, now I'm getting the messable with and unmessable with thing. It was really like
Yes.
tricky, but yeah. What would I say? I was gonna ask, is there like a process? Or before I ask that, let me ask this: being what you are in layman terms, would you say it's a life coach? Is that what it is
I
in layman
hate
terms?
that term. I really hate that term.
Really?
I mean, it's definitely what people think of, but it's not.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of life coaches and,
Mm,
people can get a certification online in a weekend to be a life coach. I've been doing
yeah.
this for 35 years and longer,
Wow.
actually, just working on myself because I
You don't look
originally
like
started.
it.
Well, I'm older than I look. It's a good filter on this, but I started working in transformative education when I was 11. So that's,
Wow.
46 years of developing these muscles. So I don't like to be bunched into life coach, but people
Mm,
don't really. So how they
yeah.
talk about me, how my clients talk about me is as a transformative coach, a master coach,
Mhm,
a thought partner, and a vision
mm,
architect, because I work with people
mm.
to really design their vision as distinct from their goals. But really, what is that space that they're after that they can fulfill on right now and right now and right now so that they get to live their dream instead of someday going to reach it if they reach some sort of metric.
Yeah, I think I like the vision architect better. It's fitting. It's more fitting.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's a new one that my new marketing person and I came up with last week. So I think I like that one.
Yeah, and just put that on the bio.
It's going up.
So, in maybe in a couple minutes, just give us the process. How do you get someone who is being messed with all these things, whether it's the life, the business, they're being messed with? How do you get them? Or how long does it take? I don't think how long does it take is the right question, but like, what is the process? What does it look like taking someone from this position where they're being messed with to a position where they're not you're unmessable with,
Yes.
in your own words.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Well, it's like any muscle. So it does take practice and it takes repeatability. So the first thing I work with people on is what's their vision. And that's where the architect of their vision comes in, because we really craft something that will give them power and freedom and self-expression. So we have the vision. Then what starts to get unearthed is everything that throws you off that vision. That's what I call what messes with you. So things like, you know, doubts, self-doubts, or beliefs that are limiting, or shoulds or shouldn'ts, you know, all those kind of things that just send you into a reactive state. So once people can see what messes with them, then we come up with a hack for it. So, you know, everything that messes with you has a physical symptom to it. It's not like, oh, shoulds mess with you. No, you get tight in your chest, or you get, you know, warm in your face. There's a physical manifestation, or what I call a red flag, to determine that you're in the world of being messable with. So I have people be on a hunt for their red flags, which come just before the shoulds and the doubts and the beliefs. It's actually a physical thing that's happening in your brain, where your amygdala is going into fight, flight, or freeze mode. That's what being reactive is. So if you can catch it early with the red flag, then you can create a hack to redirect your brain and move from the amygdala, which is that reactive sort of automatic state, to the prefrontal cortex, which is where creative state is. So if you can shift, you know, kind of interrupt that brain pattern, get to neutral for a moment, and then go to your vision that you've already pre-created. So the first thing is always the vision. Then you can take actions from your vision versus being driven by your reasons or your fears or your considerations. So it's a very, you know, step-by-step process, but it takes practice, and then it gets easier and easier. And it's very simple, but it's not easy because people are so reactive. And it takes about, you know, a nanosecond to react, and it takes conscious, deliberate discipline to create. So it's just redirecting.
Yeah, definitely. And you've got me thinking about all the things that are messing with me, and maybe I think I want to be unmessable with too, you know.
Well, you
Definitely.
know, I've got a zillion resources, you know, on my website. When you go to beunmessablewith.com, there's a freebies page that has workbooks and videos and all sorts of stuff that's free for people to start to exercise the muscle. And then if people want more kind of attention, there's the pre-recorded 6-week course called The Foundation of Being Unmessable With, which kind of breaks down each one of those steps into a week. So you get like an hour video plus little smaller videos and workbooks, and then if people want even more, you know, attention, they come and work with me in one of my programs.
Yeah, that's definitely a brilliant thing, and it's amazing that you have so much free content out there. And this is a common trait I noticed from all of the best coaches. All of the best coaches put over their years, they put so much time, they invest so much time into creating a library of free content. So when they reach that level, they can focus on the people who are more, how do I say, they're serving the people who, how do I say, who can't afford their premium services. At the same time, they can also serve hand in hand, one on one with the people who can afford it.
Yeah, it's you know, it's about time. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
there's just so much time in a day. So I try and, you know, make my time that I'm personally live on Zoom with people as accessible as possible. but it's not cheap. It's not cheap to hire a
Yeah, it's
coach.
not
It's not
cheap.
cheap to
Yeah,
hire a trainer. That's why my pre-recorded programs, I mean, I have a $150 6-week course. That's like a bargain, to have 6 weeks of material for $150. And then I have a $19 1-hour course. And I try and do something for every price
everyone.
point,
Yeah,
but I have a ton of free stuff, and I'm committed to that.
yeah.
I do like free vision workshops from time to time, and every quarter I'm doing something that's like live with me free, so that people can get a sense of what it is to work with me.
Man, that's amazing, and that goes directly in line with as I said, the vision of this podcast and the vision of our you know agency in general. And I'm curious, how does social media play a role in helping you reach more people and actualize your dream?
Well, I mean, I'm in a game this year to expand my social media platform, but I post on social media all my free things. I do my newsletter gets posted online so that people can get that value, even if they're not on my mailing list. But I am trying to bring people in from social media to my mailing list, because then they'll get the direct touches from me. They'll get my podcast every week. They'll get my newsletter. They're going to get the free opportunities to be in workshops with me first. So my list gets everything first. And social media also gets the opportunities when there's openings, but it's definitely like I cater to the people who are in my immediate community. That's why I hope to have as many people as possible join my community from things like Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
not so much on other platforms, but those are the three that I'm mostly on, and YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube. And for coaches, we speak with a lot of coaches. Those are the big platforms for coaches. You have short form content, you can do that on Instagram.
Yep.
Long form, YouTube. Then LinkedIn is for more, how do I say, formal stuff.
Yeah, my
So
newsletter goes up on
yeah.
there. And also on YouTube, I have tons of shorts. Just
Oh
even like for instance, this show, if I get a recording of it, my assistant will
yeah.
cut up little tidbits and just put them out there as YouTube shorts, because I want people to have easy, digestible
Access.
bites.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now let's get into more of the business side. We spoke a lot about, the purpose of, being unmessable with. How would you say, as a coach, as I said, again, we speak to a lot of coaches on this podcast. There's always, especially the more you niche down to a particular thing, the more likely you are to rely on referrals, right? A lot of coaches don't use a lot of what's it called, marketing and social media and lead generation. So how do you kind of mix those two together?
It's almost all referrals. I mean, in my higher level programs, it's either they come from my group coaching, they've been in my group coaching for a few rounds and it's time to graduate up to a mastery
Mm,
program, or they were one-on-one clients. And I'm doing less and less one-on-one over the next year. I'll be almost phasing that out completely. So they'll come from that and go into my higher level group, which is limited to 20 people. So it's very intimate in terms of those year-long mastery programs. So I would say it's all referral, because those programs are invitation or application only. So when
mm,
you get up to those higher levels of working with me in any kind of one-on-one basis, it's all by application or invitation. So that's pretty much how people find me. In terms of the regular group, I've had people come cold off of social media that join that group. I've had people that remember me from when I used to lead at Landmark for years, and they would come see me on social media and join. I've had friends or family members of other people come. I've had even people whose show I was on, podcast shows, that end up register. I'm like, oh my God, I remember that person. I just did their podcast. So, and now one of those people has gone through a coach's training with me and now is in my mastery program. So you never know where somebody's going
yeah.
to come from.
Yeah. So I think that's really amazing. It's really amazing for you that you've been able to figure out a way where lead flow is not a problem. Lead flow is, you don't have you worry about the financial side of things, if you know what I mean. You just focused on
Yeah.
delivering to the clients, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, design and delivery is my focus. I do want to build the platform out so I have more people in the lower cost things, because that's always good in terms of, building a base of people that are using my methodology, because I want my methodology out there. It's not so much about me doing it. I just want people living their dream. So the more people
Mm.
that have that methodology and are practicing it, the better. So I'm always looking at ways and structures, whether it's a membership thing. I don't know if I'm going to do a membership thing just yet, but maybe next year I'll do some sort of membership thing where people can have access to all the content over the year. And maybe I'll do a monthly call or something. I don't know. I'm still talking about
Mm.
that with my coach.
So coaches have coaches too,
Oh
right?
yes. If you don't have a coach, then you're not a real coach.
Definitely, definitely. I can definitely see that. How do you the audience you have on social media right now, is it something that, okay, let me phrase this well, right? What have you been doing in 2024 in terms of social media? And you've seen that you want to grow on social media, which everyone wants to. Everyone wants more leads and more growth and more eyes on their stuff and their products. What have you seen in 2024 that you're looking to bring into 2025, or you're looking to stop doing in 2025 in order to grow more on these platforms?
I think I want to do some more free workshops. I find that's the best way to get new people, is
Mm,
to offer a 1 hour free workshop on designing your year, or a 1 hour free workshop on vision, or whatever. I have so much content I can do. So I think I want to do more of those because I get to work with people. I like that. um,
mm,
and we're just starting to do on LinkedIn to have it be a newsletter instead of a post, my newsletter. So I want to keep doing that and kind of publishing more articles that can get to other audiences. But I started my own podcast to really see if I could get other people's message out there, and also reach their audience, to think that that could help expand my audience and help expand their audience. And so that's just beginning. But in the first 6 months of our podcast being launched, we're top 2.5%. So that's very exciting. And I'm looking
yeah,
to elevate that even more. And, I'm excited about some new initiatives that my new marketing person, because I never had a marketing person before. I just hired her like a week ago. So I'm excited about some of the strategies that she wants to try to,
yeah,
really start to empower people to come into the fold of the group coaching, because that's the place where I can scale. I can reach more people in a weekly group coaching session, because I could have 100 people in that. I could have 200 people in that. Right now I have 20 or 30 each time, but I could coach. I mean, I've led to hundreds and hundreds of people on Zooms, no problem. So it's, I think, the best way for somebody to be able to get hot seat coaching from me, interact with me, plus get the methodology in a structured way, because there's a curriculum to that group coaching program.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So you are just a pure coach. Coaching is your
Yeah,
thing. And
that's it. Coaching
it-
and writing. I mean, I like to create
or you're
content. I design curriculum
well,
for other companies too.
okay, okay, I get it. That's beautiful. In terms of reaching more people, what the way we think about it at our agency is volume, volume, just getting more eyeballs on you, like on your face, because writing is good, all this is good, but when it in 2025, which is why I asked that question, I wanted to see if like you were seeing things at the same level as we are. The way we look at it is, if we can get more eyeballs on you organically, it's not like, obviously running ads is good, but if we can push out as much content as possible, right? Just get your face out there. 2 posts a day, 60 posts in a month, short form, make YouTube videos. Just you getting your face out there. And this might sound overwhelming to you as a coach, because this is probably not your expertise, right? So the way we make it easy is like, we just what we've seen that works, and it works perfectly. We've seen you push out as much content as possible, and you don't put that stress on the coach, because coaches are generally not the kind of people to dabble in content creation and all that. All they have to do is get in front of a camera like this and film. And we've seen that is the way to grow an organic, and not just organic, but true following of people who resonate with your message. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with it completely. I mean, long form then cut into short form that you can push out. I mean, I'm not doing a lot of my posting. I have somebody that does that posting.
Mm.
Um, but I have a zillion hours of content that can be, chopped up
Yeah,
by Opus, Clip, or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
into short format. Um, value content, which I'm very committed to doing more and more value content this year because I have it. And, to
yeah.
do one
You have a
post about
backlog.
a podcast, I have so much. I mean, I have,
Yeah.
70 podcast episodes already
Wow.
aired, and I have probably another 40 shot. So,
Wow.
there's no shortage of material if I
Mm.
wanted to do 2 posts a day and all that kind of stuff. It's just about strategy.
Yeah.
So that's, one of the things
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll
Strategy.
be doing with me. I mean, I haven't done paid ads. I don't
Mm.
know about that. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but, if it
Yeah.
pays for itself, great.
Yeah. Paid ads, I think it's like if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna waste a ton of your money because it's not
Yeah, I
cheap.
mean, paid ads for something cheap, I mean, or something free, maybe. To just get them in your ecosystem,
Oh yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
That could, but, a paid ad to do a course with me and somebody's gonna pay money and they don't know me, I don't know. I don't buy it, I think
Yeah,
it's a push.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we
So
focus like organically. People like
yeah,
see you, I like you, I follow you. That kind of stuff is the best in terms of growing
totally.
a budding community, Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's definitely the smartest way, and that's how most viral content companies approach it. Like, you do a long form,
Yeah.
we'll take it, we'll cut it up into a million things. Here's what you should do because this is what's trending. Here, do this. I mean, that's from what I understand, what companies like yours do to be effective.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I don't want to speak about the business too much, but like it's amazing how people can just be themselves and niche down into who they are truly, and we take that image and we push it out so much. You think people won't resonate with who you are, and there's so many people in the world. You don't know how much people there are in the world. All you have to do is get yourself in front of them, and you see how it does wonders and numbers both in the social media and both in the bank account.
Well, hopefully you'll take this episode and you'll do your magic with it, and we'll
Oh,
see
definitely,
results from
definitely.
it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely send it your way, and definitely, man. This is a beautiful conversation. I'm just loving having this conversation. My head is not there in terms of what to ask you. So, tell us more about being unmessable with. How did you get the name?
Well, when I was in my early 20s, I was
Mhm,
leading transformative workshops, and I was on a
mhm.
call with a bunch of leaders, and a mentor of
Okay.
mine was on that call, and he was talking to somebody else, and he said, "You're so messable with." And I heard that word and I said,
Uh,
"Unmessable with is what I'm going to have my life be about," because it kind of captured what I had been developing, since I was first introduced to transformative work. And when I was in my very early 20s, I had this dream to be a singer, and then,
you said
disappeared
that.
this limiting belief about you can't do your art as your career. And within 3 weeks, I got a record deal and had a #1 record. So that dream fulfilled set me on this path to empowering people to fulfill their dreams. So it was a combination of those two things. It was having produced that result through this method called being unmessable with that didn't have a name yet. And through my mentor saying the word messable with, he just passed away actually last year. So I like
Oh,
to talk
okay.
about
That's a
how
song.
he gave me the inspiration for the name. But then it's been 20, 30 years that I've been developing this kind of idea, and now the brand.
Yeah, and branding is amazing. I tried, as I said, I tried looking you up, and I saw the username "be unmessable with." I was trying to read it because usernames there's no spaces. I was like, "What is
Yes,
this?"
right.
Then I got into your post, and I'm like, "Be unmessable with." We're gonna definitely get into that.
Yeah, people like the name. I mean, even if they don't know what it means, they're like, well, whatever that is, I want that. And it really is.
Ye-
It's a very inspiring place to come from, and it's
Yeah,
a simple place to coach from. It's like, okay, so are you being messable with or unmessable with right now? And people can discern it pretty quickly. Are you reacting or are you creating? which world are you in? And who's talking right now? Is it the voice that's telling you, no, you can't, this should be different, it's good, it's bad, it's right, it's wrong? Or is it the voice that is creating from your vision, from your dream, from what you're really committed to? And, it's a simple way to parse it.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of the name, like if someone comes across it the first time, they think so many different things. When I saw it, I was thinking, don't be able to be messed with. Don't let people mess with you. I thought it was people messing with you. I didn't know it was like ideas and your thoughts and your
It could also
in
be
general.
people. There's certain people that
Mm,
mess with people more. There's like a top 10. Money messes with people, time messes with people, limiting ideas have definitely have the power to mess with people, shoulds, shouldn'ts. But mostly what messes with you about people is your should or should. They shouldn't be that way. My father
mm,
shouldn't yell, or my, wife should
yeah,
be more appreciative, or whatever. Those are the things that mess with you. It's never really the person. It's the conversation you have about the person that messes with you.
yeah. I think I froze up for a bit, or was that you?
Yeah, just for a second. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and as you said, you said what I caught was like it's more of the people, like more of what they do, not them themselves. Fuck.
No, it's more what you say about what they do. So people can do whatever they do. But if you say they shouldn't be doing it, you're going to be messable with. If you say that's
Mm,
bad that they're doing it, then you're going to be messable with. So it's almost always you that messes with yourself through what you're saying about what's happening, because it's never really what
mm,
happened that messes with you, even like horrible stuff that happened. Because I work with people that I worked with somebody who was trafficked. I mean, you wouldn't wish that upon
mm,
anybody, but it isn't being trafficked that messed with her. It was that she decided she couldn't trust people. That's what messed with her.
mm.
So, there's a way of working with people where you can separate out what happened from what you made it mean about yourself or about life or about people, because whatever happened in the past is complete. It's no longer happening. It's over. So if it's still messing with you, it's because there's some decision you made about what happened that's lingering.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in my mind the way I picture it is like according to what you said, it's like it's not what they do, it's the things you tell yourself is the how do I say, there's I can't think of a way to put it, but like it's the things you tell yourself basically. Is that in
Yes,
line with what you
totally.
what you said?
Totally. Yeah, it's pretty spot on. I mean, when I was 5 years old, I asked my
Hmm.
father why he stopped painting, and he said, "Well, you can't do your art as your career." Now, he said that, but I said in my head, I guess I can't do my art as my career. And that was that. It wasn't like, he was trying to crush my dream of being a
Mm,
singer. But for me, I decided, oh,
yeah.
you can't do your art as your career. I'm not going to be a singer. I'll be a business person or a lawyer or something. And that dream was over in that moment, not from what he said. He said lots of things that I didn't listen to over my life, but because I said it to myself. And that's what really limits people, is what
Mm.
they say or decide.
To themselves. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think the network is a bit shaky. I don't know if it's on my end. Do you think it's on my end?
I think so. I have pretty strong Wi-Fi.
Okay, let me try switching. I don't want to do it, but I
Sure.
think we're good now, is it? Okay, we're good now. Okay, okay. Now let me ask you something else. This is like we're getting towards the end here. Let's say I've come to your office, me, Mike. I've knocked on your door and I said, "Hey, Jocelyn, I've seen you on social media. I know what you can do. And right now, I got I got to go meet a friend, but I need 10 minutes of your time or 5 minutes of your time or 2 minutes of your time. So many things are messing with me. What can I do to become unmessable with?"
Well, the first thing I would ask you is, what's your vision? Like, why bother
Mm,
not being messable with? For what? What are you going to replace it with?
mm,
Like, what do you really want?
mm. So should we run that role play real quick?
Yeah, sure. I'm asking you. What do you really want?
Okay.
What's your vision?
I just What do I really want? I want to be able to be free and be to build a family. I'm a really family oriented guy, and whatever it takes to have a family that is doing good and not having to worry about food on the table and any other thing, I think that'll make me happy. That's my vision.
Great. So let's say you had a family and things were going well and they weren't worried about food and all that kind of stuff. Then what would be present, like an experience?
Well, if I'm gonna imagine something, I'll say just me and my wife in the balcony, looking at my kids play in the garden, and just cherishing the moment, being fully present in the moment.
Great. So being fully present could be your vision, because that's the space
Mm,
of vision. It's a spatial phenomenon. It's not a goal phenomenon or a circumstantial phenomenon. Being present is accessible at every moment. I mean, right now,
mm,
you could be fully present. You can bring that to
mm,
life rather than hope to get it out of having a family. So
mm,
how I would coach you is, when you are messable with, first of all, you got to see it, and mostly we don't see it. So you got to catch it. And then I would
mm,
say, to shift over to being fully present, what action could you take that would
mm.
access being fully present in that moment? So you'd have to come up with your red flag. Is it the tight chest? Is it the hot face? Is it stomach, a pit in your stomach? What do you see as like the symptom of being messable with for you?
Well,
How does it?
if we're, if we're saying my being messable with is not being present, I think it's just like not. I just feel like I think a lot. Like I'm always thinking about how I can make
Overthinking?
this better. Yeah, how I can make this better, how I can make
Overthinking is
that
a
better.
big thing that messes with people. So
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
overthinking, what happens in your body? Like if you had to
Um,
notice a red flag.
if I'm thinking about it right now, I can't really point to anything other than the fact that I can't do any work when I'm overthinking. When I'm overthinking, I'm just. In fact, I'm thinking I could be working and be overthinking. It's just something that I'm so used to in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it's like muscle memory. So what I would say to
Yeah.
you is, you should now be on the lookout for what happens in
Mm,
your body when you're overthinking.
mm,
Notice, is there something that happens in your arms or in your stomach or in your chest? Like, what's the actual symptom, right? And then
okay.
be on the hunt for that. And how you hack it, I mean, you can come up with a million hacks, but you have to do something physical to interrupt that pattern, because
Mm,
that pattern is just normal for you. So you're just going to automatically by default just go to overthinking. So to reroute your brain, you have to do something that you wouldn't normally do to interrupt it. So it could be, I mean, you could do a very deep breath and sort of hum out, because that activates your vagus nerve, which kind of resets your brain. That's a simple one. Or you could, shake your hands, because you're not going to like normally just walk around going like this. So it's sort of like conscious, or you could do a rubber band on your wrist, something that's going to snap you out of it, get you to
yeah.
neutral. And then you go to, okay, being fully present. What action can I take right now to be fully present right now?
Mm,
And, and you take that action. So your actions are being given by your vision versus driven by your automatic default mode.
mm. That makes a lot of sense. What I'm getting is, the feeling is in your head, the overthinking is in my head, and you're saying it manifests into a physical thing. I have to find that, and when I do find that, I have to try and counter it with something like, a rubber band or waving my hands, or if
Something
it's a breathing
physical. Yeah.
technique, yeah, something
Hmm.
physical to counter the physical red flag. And once I do that, then I can go back to my mind and try to fix my mental and try to counter
Well,
the
no,
mental.
then
So
you
I have.
can go back to your vision. So you don't have to go
Mm,
back to your mind, because you just came out of your mind and you're right
yeah,
here, right now. Once you snap out
yeah,
of it, you're at neutral, which you could say is
okay,
being fully present.
okay,
That's what meditators kind of go for, is that moment of being disappearing, right? So if you come back to neutral, then you go, it's like there's two roads. You got the road of being messable with, overthinking, stressing out, all that kind of stuff. And then there's the road of vision, which for you is being fully present, right? So you have two roads. You got to catch yourself before you go too far down the road of overthinking. Pull
mm,
yourself back to the fork and go, okay, I'm going to go down this road, the road of my vision, which is being fully present. So you take an action to put yourself on that road. So it's kind of like you're
mm.
backstepping and then stepping into that other world.
So it's a very conscious. It's something that you have to be conscious about. A lot of times we overthink and we just overthink, and we don't even know we're overthinking. So you're saying we have to remind ourselves, hey, get out of this trance, get out of this thing that you're doing,
That's right.
and put
Yeah, it is.
yourself
It's
back.
like a trance.
Definitely, definitely. And I think that's advice that I should pay for. I think that's advice
Yeah.
that people should definitely pay for.
Well, if you go to my website, the pop-up is get the basics of being unmessable with 12-page workbook, and it basically goes through those steps, and you can get that for free.
Mm,
You don't have to pay for it. You just go in
that's
there and
amazing. That's
get it for
amazing.
free. And it walks you through the steps so you can practice it, but it does
Mm,
take practice. It is not like
mm,
you can lift 200 pounds right away. You got to start
mm,
with the smaller weights and reps, and then you can catch it quicker and quicker. And that's sort of, it's not like being unmessable with is nothing's ever going to upset you and you're just going to be, no, that's ridiculous. Things
mm.
happen, but how quickly can you
Can you step
shift
out of
from
that?
reaction?
Mm,
Exactly. That's the point. That's the muscle I build with
wow.
people.
Wow, wow, wow. I think that's brilliant. I think now, taking this little role play, I've really, really, really understood what you mean by what the whole concept is. The concept is, correct me if I'm wrong, is recognizing the things that make you messable with, snapping out of it, because and you the way you go about it is you realize that these things have a physical manifestation, which is something I've
Yes.
never even thought about. And once you start being conscious of these things, you realize that I've never thought about it. You found that they have a physical manifestation, and you tell your people to counter that physical manifestation with something else which is physical, to bring them
Yes.
back out of that, and then focus on going back to the road of the vision, which is where you want to be. I think that's an
That's
amazing process.
I think that was brilliantly said. I'm not going to put a mustache on the Mona Lisa. That was perfectly said. And
Wow.
I have backup from from neuroscientists that tell me that
Mm,
it's absolutely true. I mean, my red flag is always tightness in my chest. And
mm.
sometimes I'll feel that before I even realize what's messing with me. Like
Because you've
I'll
already
see a,
recognized it.
it just automatically happens. And so
Yeah.
I'll see a message on my phone from somebody that maybe I'm nervous about talking to, and right away my chest will go, and I'll go, oh, I don't even know what's messing with it. It doesn't even matter. I got to now interrupt it. Now what am I creating? What am I creating right
Oh.
now? And that's sort of the trim tab way.
Well, this is such a crazy experience for me. I'm getting little goosebumps because now that you say it, it's like these things actually do manifest in physical things. And once you start recognizing and you associate these feelings with these physical manifestations, it's so easy to how do I say, to pull yourself out, because I think this
Yes.
has a lot to do with bad habits as well. Because when you want to do something, it manifests. You feel something, and you have to. If you can recognize that feeling, let's say you want to go smoke a cigarette, you feel something. If you can recognize that feeling before you tell yourself that I want to go
Yes.
smoke a cigarette, then it's so easy to pull yourself out. And I think I'm getting an epiphany right now just listening to all this.
That's transformation right there. That's what transformative coaching looks like. It's not
Wow,
information, it's
wow.
transformation.
Yeah, yeah, this is so amazing right now. I'm not even saying this because it's a podcast. I'm genuinely having an epiphany. Like,
That makes me
it's all
happy.
coming. Yeah, you must be so happy doing your job and getting
I
reactions like this
am.
from people.
It's the best thing in the
Oh,
whole world. I mean, it
this is
literally makes me
unbelievable.
cry. It's like, especially when you now
Wow.
turn that into results. It's nice to have an insight,
Yeah,
but when you go and now don't react to your sister or to your boss when you are able to actually stay in the space
yeah.
of creation and fulfill your vision at work or with your family or with your wife or whatever. I mean, that's really where the juice is.
Wow, wow. Definitely, definitely, and I will definitely put this into practice because I will definitely put this into practice,
And then you
Madam
get to
Jocelyn.
email me and let me know what you
I'll email you.
discover
I'll
out of
DM
it.
your Instagram, and I'll give you all the gist. Don't worry about it, man.
Good, excellent. That makes me so happy.
Wow, I'm so happy as well, and I think this is a good place to kind of close it up. And I will ask you this. I'll end with this. This is gonna be a bit of put you on the spot, but listen, we
Yeah.
ask this to all the people who come on. What is one thing that you wished I asked you on this podcast?
Hmm.
We always get that reaction.
Yeah, I I mean, you kind of asked me what I like to talk about, which is how do you shift from being messable with to unmessable with? What is unmessable with? How did I get started? I mean, I guess one thing is, what was my first glimpse of being unmessable with would have been a question.
Mm,
And that I would answer as my mother.
mm,
When I was young, she was the first person in our family to do any transformative education. And my
mm,
parents were separated. They were going to get divorced. My father had been having affairs and had actually an affair with Elizabeth Taylor. It was very like public. And, she was like the most beautiful woman, movie star in the world. So he had an
mm.
affair with her. They got separated. And then my mother did this workshop, and she went in before she did it as a victim. Like, my father was this
Mm.
horrible philanderer. And then she came out of that workshop totally creating her life. She's like, I'm moving back to New York. I'm taking the kids. He's like, you're not going anywhere until you get a job and an apartment under $600 a month and da da da. She's like, fine, take the kids. She went for 1 week to New York, got the job, got the apartment for anything she wanted to create, she could create from
Wow.
transformative education. So for me, that was like, whatever that is, like not being a victim of her circumstance and being able to create her life. And then they got back together, and
Wow.
she created that. And they're together. My mother's 93 and my father's 91. They're together 65 years or something. So
Wow.
that is like the source of my transformation is my mother.
Mm. So that is where you picked it up, and we always pick it up from home or school. I think is the two places.
Yeah.
It's either someone at home or a teacher at school, or something like that. And I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful story, and I think more people need to hear your story. I think more you need to meet more people. More people need to come across your work, and as you said, not get information, but get transformation. Right?
Well, hopefully you
Exactly.
guys can make that happen. That's why we're doing
Hopefully
this.
we can. Hopefully we can. And I think this is a good place to come to an end. Where can people go to learn more about your work?
beunmessablewith.com is my
Okay.
website. They can follow me on social. Obviously, Instagram is Be Unmessable With. I mean, I'm Be Unmessable With everywhere, YouTube. So, but on my website is the most central place, and they can get all those freebies there too. So you can get a
Okay.
money workshop. You could get something on burnout. You could get something on
Mm,
imposter syndrome. You could get, you could get anything you want up there.
definitely, definitely. So be unmessable with. Let me just spell it out for the people who don't. Anyways, B E
Because it is.
U N
Yes,
BEUNMESSABLEWITH.com. Is that right?
that's it. You got it.
I guess I can spell. So that's a good place to
Yes.
come to an end. And thank you for coming on here, Madam Jocelyn. And this has been an amazing conversation. And I will put your tricks. No, I don't think it's worthy. It's the right term to use to call it tricks. I think your methods, as you said, that's what you call them, right?
Yeah, my
Your methods,
methodology. Yeah, sure.
your methodology. Exactly. I will definitely put that to work. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing having you on, and we'll see you some other time, hopefully.
Definitely. I would love to. Thanks, Mike.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?